Welcome to the channel, guys. I promise that you won't be disappointed with the stories that I'm about to tell you. How the police stopped me 3 times in Zanzibar. Yes, you heard it right. I had 3 encounters with the police during my 30 days stay in Zanzibar. Right off the bat, before even starting this video, I want to advise you to question every time if the police is stopping you in a country where you're just a tourist. I'm just saying, make sure that you are watching this video to the end, because you might get from my story some helpful tips on how to react if the police stops you. Also because the stories are pretty crazy. So what did actually happen? Well, my girlfriend and I, we booked a trip to Zanzibar for 30 days. At this point, we were already for a week there, and we decided to spend the next 2 weeks in Nungwi, which is the northern tip of Zanzibar. Everything was going smooth. I decided to rent a motorbike for 3 days. There was this guy who was running the Airbnb place in Nungwi where we stayed at, called Mohammed. He told me he has a friend and I could rent from him a motorbike. The price was $20 for a day. I had in mind to rent the bike for 3 days because I want anyway to travel the entire island and see the beauty of Zanzibar, which, by the way, I recommend you to watch. It has been an epic journey through Zanzibar, 3 days long, and I'm going to leave you some links throughout the video to check them out. Back to the story. Mohammed called now his friend, told him I would like to rent the motorbike for 3 days. He came, I think, a day later. He brought the motorbike. He showed me, okay, here are the papers in a plastic case. I'm like, great, awesome, I love it. And now, not to get too deep into details, let's start with the first encounter. How did it happen? This was now the first road trip from Nungwi to Kiwengwa, which is right here. After having a great day, eating in a restaurant, flying the drone around, we decided it's a wrap for today, so we are going to head back home, of course riding the bike from Kiwengwa to Nungwi. So we got now stopped at the junction in the middle of the road by a police officer. But now the shit is about to hit the fan. He asked me first to show my driver's permit, which I did, but not the one from Zanzibar, because I didn't even know I need a temporary driving permit from Zanzibar, which is this one. I didn't have this one with me at all. Then he asked me to show the bike papers and the rental information that I rented the bike. So I opened that case. The papers were inside, but through the sunlight over the months or years, the whole color was faded away and you couldn't even read what was written on the paper. So now the officer was already like suspicious that I don't know what, might have stolen the bike or that I might be illegal here in Zanzibar. Then he also asked me for my passport, and I didn't have a passport with me. I mean, my passport was in the Airbnb place. So here I am now in the middle of the road in complete darkness, having no money on me, no passport, no bike papers, and no driver's permit. I had now a long discussion with the police officer, 20 minutes long, begging him basically to let me just go. I would even come on the police station the next day, show my passport, show everything. I just have no money to go back home. He wanted me to leave the bike there and go back home by local bus. I just couldn't. I didn't have a penny with me. But I found a solution. You know how usually people have Wi-Fi on their phone even if they are on the road? Well, I didn't have no Wi-Fi on my phone, neither my girlfriend. So I had now to turn on my Bluetooth mobile hotspot. Then he did a mobile hotspot as well, the officer. He gave me internet from his phone to be able to call this guy through WhatsApp, because I didn't have a SIM card to call him on a normal, regular way on his phone. After 5 minutes, I managed to finally call Mohammed on his phone and tell him that I'm in deep problems right now, and he should go in my room, take a picture of my passport and send it to me through WhatsApp. This is what happened. I showed it to the police officer. Now he wanted to have a guarantee that I am going to not leave the country. And after 10 minutes of back and forth, he finally told me that I am allowed to go now with the bike. He told me that he's going to be the next day in front of the gate where I'm staying at, and I will have to pay a fee and blah blah blah. Long story short, nothing happened anymore. I drove off in the night. I arrived back home. I was completely pissed. No one advised me to do such a car's driver's permit, a temporary one, which you have to pay, I'm not sure exactly how much, but it's not that expensive. And not knowing that my license from Germany is not valid in Zanzibar. And this was the first encounter. Nothing much happened, thank God, but it was a pretty scary experience and nerve-wracking. Now let's go to the second encounter, which you won't believe when it happened. Was on the second day of the road trip, right the next day. This was not such a crazy encounter, but let me tell you what happened. The second road trip was obviously on the second day of me renting the bike, and I decided to ride an epic 100 kilometers from Nungwi to Mtende beach. This was a motorbike ride from the most northern tip of the island to the most southern tip of the island. As we arrived in Mtende beach finally after a couple of hours, we had a lot of fun there, flew the drone, ate in a restaurant, explore the sights and so on, and now it was time to go back home. But I still wanted to have a stop in Pingwe, right there. After spending another couple of hours in Pingwe, we had now to ride back home, again in complete darkness. To be honest, I didn't have a great feeling to ride again in the night because of what happened the day before, but I said, whatever, we have to reach home, so let's ride. After maybe half an hour of riding, which by the way has to be done very carefully, especially at night, because of the many road bumps throughout the villages, we finally reached again a junction, and there was again a freaking police officer. Long story short, we get stopped, the police officer walks towards us, and he's asking me a question. Where am I coming from? I said, I am coming from Tende Beach. I am riding now back home. And I think he asked something like, where is home? Where are you riding now to? I said, Nungwi. I'm not even kidding you guys, that was his reaction. Go, just go. He didn't really bother to ask me for the papers or for driver's permit or passport. He just heard how insane I was to ride from Ntende Beach back to Nungwi, which is a bit over 100 kilometers. And that was the second encounter. The guy passed the vibe check. He was really chilled, he let us go, and whew, I couldn't believe I could continue riding back home after just a couple of seconds of talking to him. Awesome. I hope you guys are still around and that you're enjoying this storytelling. Now we are coming to the last encounter, which is the craziest one of all of them. Just be patient and listen to what happened this third time. Guess when this encounter happened? Exactly. On the third day of the ride. So I basically rented the motorbike for 3 days, and I got stopped by the police on each single day. Now this was the last day of me having the motorbike. In the meantime, I also got the paperwork done properly. At least this encounter happened during the day. What a miracle. As we were now just 5 minutes away from Nungwi on the national road, I decided to stop on the side of the road because I noticed something with the leakage of the fuel at the motorbike. Right after the stop, I had now in front of me a very straight road, and I was maybe doing 50 to 70 kilometers per hour. All of a sudden, from the left side of the road, I see someone jumping on the street, waving for us to stop. And I realized immediately that he's a police officer. Oh my God. How in the world? A third time on the third consecutive day. And now it gets really crazy, so pay attention. The officer stops us, I pull left, but I am not going off the bike. I sit tight, my girlfriend too. And I am asking him, what's the matter? Why did you stop us? He was like, did you see the sign showing 50 just a couple of meters away? I'm like, no, I didn't see no sign. Where? And there was no sign whatsoever that showed 50 kilometers per hour. So in that second already, I realized this is some fishy going on. I have to mention that there were 4 police officers, and as I was busy with one of them talking the matter and this nonsense, another police officer jumps on the street and he's stopping, waving down a scooter driver this time. Another guy with his girlfriend. This was now really funny because this police officer was accusing now these 2 people that they were driving over 50 kilometers per hour. And they said, this is impossible, we just started 50 meters behind to ride our scooter. We couldn't even reach that speed. First of all, the scooter I think didn't even reach that speed, I'm not sure. They had a 1-minute discussion and they were left alone, they continued their journey. But we were still sitting there waiting to see what's going to happen. Oh boy. In a way it was funny, sad and also scary how this police officer was trying to scam us. He had a radar gun in his hand. He was the entire time measuring the speed of the cars and doing as if he's very busy. He took a book, it was already like pre-opened kinda, to that page that shows the sanction. What do you have to pay if you are riding too fast? And he showed me the paragraph on the book which says that you have to pay 150,000 shillings to I don't know how much, 300,000 shillings. This is how much is in US and euros. I said, but why? For what? And he was like, because you are speeding. And instead of me now being scared and thinking, oh my God, okay, let me pay you the money and I can continue my journey and whatever, I don't want any problems. I said, well, I want the proof. That means you have to have taken a picture of me, right, on the radar gun. And then he told me, what, do you want to argue now? You want us to go in court? Who do you think is going to win? Us, the police, or you? In that moment, guys, I knew this is just intimidation tactic and this was just a scam and they were just trying to make money off stupid tourists. And in the discussion he was also telling me that I will go to prison if I don't pay, that I go into court and I'm going to lose this case and I will have to pay even more money. So I was very polite and I said, look, I am not going to pay this money unless I see the proof that I was speeding. Long story short, after discussing 10 minutes back and forth, I heard them speaking in Swahili, something, and now the guy told me, let this be a warning for you. But if I catch you again speeding, you are going to pay this and that and I don't know what. I said very politely, thank you very much, I appreciate that, it won't happen anymore. And I have for you now a little part of the video because I told my girlfriend, hey, turn on the camera real quick. In case we will need this as a proof later, who knows what happens. So, here it is.
Now, warning.
I give you warning.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for understanding. Yeah.
We'll watch out. Okay. Asante sana.
Yeah, I sounded very polite and very humble. I didn't want no stress, so I could go on with my day. There are two morals to this story. Number one, make sure your papers are completely fine and in order, that you don't have problems later on if the police stops you. Number two, don't shit your pants. Don't let yourself be bamboozled and tricked by the police. It's easy for them to intimidate you, especially if you do not know the laws of the country. Just use your common sense. Thank you very much, guys, for listening to me and watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel as well if you like traveling vlogs. I have a bunch of them from Zanzibar and from Jamaica, and I'm also doing paragliding videos if you do not know who I am. At this point, I want to thank you all once again for watching. Stay tuned and see you in the next one. Bye bye.